Hey all, it's your boy John Atala and welcome to episode 9 of the Big Boy Basics. Today we're going over rep tempo. What is a good tempo for the best muscle gains in your workout? So disclaimer, these are just general recommendations. This is a simplified concept. And this series is with my own personal style of training, although this is a very easy topic for most of you guys. Let's just get into it. What is rep tempo? Rep tempo is how fast you do a rep. Generally, when you see it written in a program, it's comprised of 4 numbers, and these 4 numbers represent different things in order. So the first number is the eccentric portion of the lift. Then next is the bottom portion of the lift. The next is the concentric. Then the next number is the top. So for those of you who don't know the difference between concentric and eccentric, it's really easy to remember. Concentric means the contraction. Eccentric is basically the opposite motion of that. So on a bicep curl, the eccentric is the lowering of the weight and the concentric is the upward portion because you're contracting the muscle. On a squat, the eccentric is the lowering in the squat because you're not contracting yet. And then when you're moving up, that's the contraction. You're squeezing your quads up, right? So remember, concentric for contracting. So in this example, it's a 3-2-1-2. So what that means, it's a 3-second eccentric, and I'm going to put a bicep curl on here. So that means 3 seconds down and then 1 at the bottom. So you're going to rest at the bottom for a second. Then you're going to do 2 seconds up, a 2-second contraction, and the 1 at the top, okay? So I don't know how many viewers I have overseas, but in America, we say Mississippis to count our seconds. So we go 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, and then you rest at the bottom, 1 Mississippi. Then you go 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, and then 1 Mississippi at the top, right? So you might also see this differently. Sometimes in your rep tempos in a program, you might also have an X. And that basically means there is no rep tempo. You're just trying to go as fast as you can. So let's say this is useful for a squat. So a 2-second eccentric, so you're lowering down, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. You're not staying at the bottom, so that's a 0. You're not trying to sit in the hole. And then you're just shooting up as fast as you can. There's no specific tempo for the concentric. And then you give yourself 2 seconds to rest at the top. So if it has an X, it just means you're basically just shooting up as fast as you can, or it's not counted. Like at the bottom, you might see a 0 as well, because you're not supposed to rest at the bottom in the squat if you're not doing pause squats. You're generally going to go down and then shoot up as hard as you can. So the question is, do rep tempos actually matter? It's a kind of. So it's good to make use of different tempos over time for different stimuluses, right? If you haven't ever done like a pause bench press, that's probably going to be good. So that's going to change your rep tempo, because at the bottom of the lift, you're pausing for a second and then you're pushing. It might be good to do like some pump work so that you're gonna have different rep tempos if you're going nice and slow and squeezing the contractions. It's gonna be different if you're going really fast. So all these things do matter. How you do your rep does matter in your tracking, because I'm gonna be able to bang out a lot more reps on a bench press if I'm going as fast as I can, versus if I'm doing like a 3-second eccentric, then a 3-second pause, and then a 3-second concentric, right? So it all makes the difference. But with rep tempos, don't expect your rep tempos to be exactly the same. I'm not like timing this stuff. I do count Mississippis in my head, or you do 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000, right? Just have a consistent tempo in your head and just stick with that for your counting, and it'll be good enough for this portion. And don't also expect your rep tempos to be all exactly the same, because it will change as you get more fatigued on your set. Your last couple reps are probably gonna be grinders compared to your first couple reps when you're fresh. So it is gonna change over time, but try to stick to the general rep tempo you set for yourself. So the general thing with rep tempos is too fast and you're not in control of the weight, so you're just kind of flailing around. You're gonna end up on one of those gym viral fail TikToks where you just flail around with the weight and you look silly. But then it's too slow, then the set takes forever, and generally hypertrophy is worse just going super slow. I'm talking about like a 5-second rep up, then a 5-second rep down, right? It just gets a little silly, then it becomes impractical. Even if it was good for muscle growth, I don't think I'd do it because it would just take too long. 5 reps would take at least 50 seconds if you're doing a 5-second up, a 5-second down, right? So you have to factor in practicality for this as well. Generally for rep tempos, controlling the weight is the most important thing. So what is a good rep tempo that will allow you to control the weight? So I'm going to give you a couple examples depending on your goals in the next slide. So rep tempo recommendations, and generally you can work this on most lifts. So for typical lifting, it's a 1-0-1-0. So what does that mean again? So it's a 1-second eccentric. So let's say on the curl, a 1 second down, you're not resting at the bottom, it's a 0. And then it's a 1 second up, and then you don't rest at the top. So it's just 1 Mississippi, 1 Mississippi, 1 Mississippi, 1 Mississippi, right? You're just going. Or if you like a slower pace, you can do a 2-0-2-0. So let's stick with the curl again. You're at the eccentric, so it's 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, nothing, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, right? Either of these rep tempos are going to be really good for your typical lifting scenario. Now there's also some other recommendations. You could do a 1-1-1-1, which is like good for pause work. So let's take the bench press, for example. You're going to come down 1 Mississippi, pause for 1 Mississippi, push for 1 Mississippi, hang out the top for 1 Mississippi. So it's 1 Mississippi, 1 Mississippi, 1 Mississippi, 1 Mississippi, right? So that's going to be good for your pause work if you like to incorporate that. Or if you want a really nasty pump, this is one I personally do. It's a 3-second eccentric, 1 at the bottom, 2-second concentric, then 1 at the top, just to give your guys self a little break between the really slow eccentric, then a little faster concentric. You'll feel a pump on that one. Keep in mind, these are just recommendations for your rep tempos. There are countless variations, but 99% of you are going to do just fine on the 1-0-1-0 or the 2-0-2-0. We do not really need to complicate this at all. So the quote for the video, keep the beat and you will grow your meat, by Liver King. So up next, we're actually getting into exercises finally. So the first series will be all your favorite people's body part, the best chest exercises. We're going to go over what variations you should do, and I'm going to pick exercises I know most of you will have access to. This isn't going to be like any special machine workouts or anything. I know if you go to a gym that's not Planet Fitness, your gym will have these equipment and you'll be able to do them. Until next time, I hope to see everyone in the comments. Leave a comment down below. Leave a favorite quote you have from lifting, and peace.